session 5 of lesson number 1, crop production and management. Till today we have seen many more agricultural practices. When these practices are used, which tools are used for these practices, which are the advantages and disadvantages of using various methods. We have also seen many interesting questions which gives the details about the farming, and today we are going to end this lesson with the 2 points. Point number 1.9, storage. Now we are going to start. Actually, the agricultural practices storage involved after harvesting. So storage is the next process after harvesting. So we should know about it because a lot of efforts are taken by the farmer, and now this is the time to store the grains properly so it can be used for whole the years or for more time, and this should be done properly. So we are going to learn the point storage. Storage of produce is an important task. If the harvested grains are to be kept for longer time, they should be safe from moisture, insects, rats and microorganisms. See, it is very important to store the grains properly, and if you want to keep it for longer time, we have to keep it away from moisture, insects, rats and microorganisms. If you are get the success to achieve this, all insects, rats, moisture, microorganisms keep away from your grain, then you can keep the given grains for a long time. Harvested grains have more moisture. We know that very well. For example, soybean. When we remove the soybean, its moisture is more. But as the days passed, as we make it dry, the moisture quantity reduces. So, harvested grains have more moisture. If freshly harvested grains are stored without drying, they may get spoiled or attacked by organisms, making them unfit for use or for germination. See, it's very important. If we remove the grains and without drying, if we save it, if we try to preserve it, then it cannot remain for more days. It may get spoiled. If we not dry the given grains, then it may spoil or it may attacked by organisms, and if it spoil or attacked by the organism, then it will be unfit for use. We can't use it, or it is unfit for germination, means that grain cannot be used for growing another plant if it is spoiled. Hence, before storing them, the grains are properly dried in the sun to reduce the moisture in them. This prevents the attack by insects, pests, bacteria and fungi. If you want to store the grain for longer time, then we have to reduce its moisture. How much moisture you remove, the grains can remain good in condition for that much time. Yes, if you make the grains more dry, then it will remain for more days. As it is more dry, the proportion of the moisture will be less. So we can prevent the attack of insect, pests, bacteria and fungi. Okay, so if we are get the success to keep this pest, bacteria, fungi away from the grains, we can keep these grains for a longer time. See the Paheli on the page number 11. She want to ask you something. I saw my mother putting some dried neem leaves in an iron drum containing wheat. I wonder why. See, you may have also seen when we buy the wheat from the market, in that wheat sometimes we see neem leaves, and these neem leaves, just the question come in mind that why the green leaves of the neem are present in the wheat. So Paheli also have the same question. I think according to the knowledge, the green leaves of neem acts as the pesticide, natural pesticide, which can keep any kind of insect away from the grain. So that is also good. So because of that, the neem leaves are mostly added to the wheat for the storage purpose. Okay, this I said. Now the dried neem leaves are used for storage. Okay, first upon, the green leaves are removed from the tree and they made dry, and then these dried neem leaves are used for the storage. Okay, so let me go on now the next page, page number 12, where you can see various figures are given, images are there that you can see. Farmers store grains in jute bags or metallic bins. I think you may know about it. For storing the grains, farmer use the jute bags, or in the farmer's house there is a presence of metallic bins also. However, large scale storage of grains is done in silos and granaries to protect them from pests like rats and insects. Now if you want to see here I have just announced the pronunciation of the word. See, silos. Now this silos you can see in the figure 1.10a. Okay, that is silos, figure 1.10a, silos for storage of grains. And if you want to see the granaries are shown in the figure 1.10b, storage of grains in gunny bags in granaries, where you can see the gunny bags are kept properly, that is the granaries. Okay, so this is the method of the storage. Dried neem leaves, now just only have speak with you, just we have discussion regarding it, that I have talked with you. Dried neem leaves are used for storing food grains at home. For storing large quantities of grains in big godowns, specific chemical treatments are required to protect them from pests and microorganisms. See here, if you want to store the grain on small scale at the home level, then it can be stored in the gunny bags with the help of the dried neem leaves. But for these big silos or granaries, we need a different technique, and specific chemicals are used. Specific chemical treatments are required to protect them from pests and microorganisms. So whatever big grains or whatever they are stored, that is big silos and big granaries, they use the special chemical treatments. So whatever the grains are present there, it remain for the long time. Okay, so now here we have completed the point storage. Now we are going to see the last point, 1.10, food from animals. Food from animals, we know that very well. We are depend on plants for food purpose, but we also depend on animals for food purpose. From animals we get variety of the food items that we eat daily. And to understand it very well, they have given here activity 1.3, where you can see one table they have shown, and this table is it in front of you. Make the following table in your notebook and complete it, where they have given the column number one is of serial number 2 column is for food, and number 3 column is for sources. For example, serial number 1, the name of the food is given milk. Which are the sources? We get the milk from cow, we get the milk also from buffalo, then from goat and camel. So this is about the sources from which we get the milk. Second example of animal food, we can take example eggs. Okay, eggs we can get from the chicken, or we can also call them as a hen. Okay, you have to find out another names from which we get the hens. Third, you can add their meat. Okay, sources, you know that how to write. Now I have given one example, from that you can understand to how to write. Just complete this table. Okay, whatever activities are there that you have to complete, that you have to write in your notebook, and when our regular school will start, at that time I will check these notebooks. Okay, just keep it in mind. Now after completion of the table, just it will come in our mind. After completing this table, you must have seen that like plants, animals also provide us with different kinds of food. I think it is no need to describe that which food items are important for us that we get from the animals. From animals we get a variety of the food items. Now only we have listed it in activity 1.3. Okay, many people living in coastal areas consume fish as a major part of their diet. If you think about the coastal areas, then we can understand it very well that the main food of this people is fish. They include fish as their main part of their diet. As we know that if we go in the Konkan areas, there people mostly give the preference for eating the fish. It is available in more amount at that places. In the previous classes, you have learned about the food that we obtain from plants. Now whatever we obtain from the plants, we understand it very well. In last classes, we have seen it. We have just seen that the process of crop production involves a number of steps like selection of seeds, sowing, etc. Now whatever we have seen for that, which agriculture practices are required for the crop production, selection of the seeds, sowing, etc. Similarly, animals reared at home or in farms have to be provided with a proper food, shelter and care. In this whole chapter we have seen what are the agricultural practices required, and what are the techniques, methods, and what are the steps. All the things we have discussed in detail. Like the same, if you want to keep an animal at home or at the farm, then we require proper food, shelter and care. Okay, we require this, all the details, all the processes, proper food, shelter and care. When this is done on large scale, it is called animal husbandry. So I'll repeat, this can be a definition also. Animal husbandry. See, animals reared at home or in farms have to be provided with the proper food, shelter and care, and when this is done on a large scale, it is called animal husbandry. Means if we do the rearing of animals systematically, means by providing the proper food, proper shelter, and if we take the proper care, and if it is done on large scale, then this is known as animal husbandry. I think you understand whatever I told now. See here, Paheli want to say something. Fish is good for health. You may have heard also. Fish gives us lot of minerals and vitamins. Fish is good for health. We get cod liver oil from fish, which is rich in vitamin D. If you want to get an vitamin D, we can consume the cod liver oil that we get from fish. Actually, fish is a very important part of diet present in the coastal areas people, and fish is very important to get the nutrients also. So we have to add the fish in our daily diet. Along with, we have to add many other food items that we get from animals. Okay students, here we have completed the lesson, and I hope you have understood whatever I taught, and this total whatever points I taught, just try to understand it. You can watch this video again. Wherever you get difficulty, you can ask me on our WhatsApp group. Whatever the difficult words are there, just you can underline the words, write it this word in your notebook, just underline the words. If you try to get the meaning of this word by your own, if you are not getting the meanings, you can ask me, I will give the details. And at the end of this session, you will be provided the exercise which is from the textbook. Solve the exercise, and where you get the difficulty, you can ask me, but solve the exercise immediately after completing this session. Take the exercise to solve and write it in a neat handwriting. Write properly, write neatly. Okay, the exercise will be given to you after this video. Okay, thank you.